Well, good morning. Welcome to Wednesday. What a contrast from one Wednesday to another, right? I mean, last week can't even get through the end of your driveway, and today it's reminding you of why we don't like March with gray, slushy stuff and ice everywhere, all that stuff. So, thanks for making it out. It's good to see you as we make our way further through this theme of surviving winter. And this week, trying to address that agenda of grief and loss in winter and how those two things play out differently in where it goes through. So, just the advice and review from Monday. The first is just acknowledge grief when it's happened. If it's not happened in your life, you probably have forgotten if it's happened in somebody else's life. And this is an opportunity this week maybe to send a note or a card in the mail and let them know you're thinking about them or you're wondering how they're doing, because we all have a tendency to move on much faster than those that are stuck in grief of losing somebody they care about. So the advice is just be able to acknowledge that, turn toward it, be able to talk about it with somebody, because if you don't, grief tends to show up in a lot of physiological symptoms, or it creates more chaos the less it's addressed. The second one is just recognizing that we have distant relationships from us this time of year, whether that's actual location that's far away or distant relationships because there's a lack of emotional connection when one side of that equation wants something stronger. So it creates this kind of void. It creates that sense of loss this time of year, and really encouraging people to recognize how much they've done. If there is a gap there, have you tried to close it as much as you can? Because it takes two people to reconcile something. But if you've gone as far as you can, that's an important part of what you can control. But I don't want anybody to think if it's not fully reconciled, then I'm stuck and it's not going to go forward. It's really this idea of saying, be patient, see what will come in January or after winter. It's a really hard time to do some of that additional work. And then finally, talking about the idea of, can you reframe some of those missed opportunities? If you've made decisions, they've not gone well, sometimes you have the solace of knowing, well, at least I tried to be able to do something. But if you had an opportunity and you didn't do it, or you made a poor decision about it and it didn't work out, there's different levels of regret. So really encouraging people to talk about what they regret this time of year in order to try and get a different perspective. So it's not just this aching kind of throbbing thing of regret. It's always stirring on your mind. You're not quite sure how to do about that. So this is kind of some thick stuff this time of year, but that's why winter has a fierceness of it, and why we use words like surviving it, because it's hard to escape when we're missing the good things we love. Be able to get outdoors anytime we want. A lot of excess sunshine. People are available. And in wintertime, we're kind of robbed of some of those things on the easy pathway, and you have to be a little bit more creative of how to get there. So that's the review of what was out on Monday. Continuing as we talk on Wednesday morning here, more activities of things to do in wintertime. This week was coming across some candlelight hikes that are available in the state parks. So here are some dates for those if you've had a chance to do it. I know Stevens Point tries to do it locally here, but here are some state park versions that are coming up. So starting January 23rd, the Wisconsin DNR is hosting several of these events in state parks. First one's January 3rd in Baraboo at Mirror Lake State Park from 6 to 8. So these are all evening based, right? So you have some time to travel there and be able to get there. January 10th, much closer to us, right? Rib Mountain State Park is having the candlelight snowshoe hike from 6 to 8. Another option right there. January 17th, Kettle Moraine State Forest has the Southern Unit Candlelight Hike and Ski from 5 to 8. February 1st, Lake Wissota State Park out near Chippewa Falls has candlelight events from 5:30 to 7:30. So we're able to drive lots of different directions and be able to do this. Mirror Lake State Park repeats it in February 7th. Rib Mountain again on February 14th. And as well on February 14th, Newport State Park in Door County. If you've ever been to that one, right on the water there, it's not a lot of cars can get in there. There's a lot of beautiful places to be able to walk. That's from 5:30 to 8:30. And even Governor Thompson State Park has one from 6 to 9. So stating it on the video, it'll be on the handout when it gets uploaded. So if you're thinking, what can we do in January and February when we're really wondering what do we look forward to do? How can we still get together with people after the holidays and be active outside. Well, here's some evening activities that get you out of the house rather than locking it down at 4:30 and not knowing what else to do. So that was a really nice list, and so I hope you can take advantage of that as you go. Some questions for us that kind of get onto some of those topics about avoiding regret or being able to pass on some wisdom. Two questions for us. What's a goal that you have this month to be intentional about so you don't miss out? Right? We've got these 2 weeks left this month with a lot of activities, so it's easy to miss. What's an activity or a purpose or a connection you want to make in the next 2 weeks so that this month finishes well? Those holidays are more along the lines of what you want to have happen. What are you trying to be intentional about in the next 2 weeks? Around here might be food. How many different types of Christmas cookies can you eat in the next 2 weeks, right? That's an easy goal to reach, but any others? Visiting family? Yeah. Being intentional to take that time off well and get to places. That's good. Others? Plan accordingly. Having a good strategy. Okay? This is the time to think about it. 2 weeks left, right? A week till Christmas Eve and a week till New Year's Eve. It comes quick. Be thinking about that because the intentionality to be able to do it will help you not get to January 1st and are like, shoot, what did I forget to do? What did I not experience in December that I was really hoping for back before Thanksgiving? That's where we're bringing up that question so you can. More along the lines about grief and loss. From your own experience, what suggestions would you make to others in order to support someone going through grief and loss? What have you found to be extremely helpful or comforted you or you've seen be effective for other people you can just pass on to those in this class or throughout the video here? What are some suggestions you have for those going through grief and loss actively? A lot of wisdom that everybody gains through life. Sure. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sure. So being intentional to say something to them and touching base with them regularly. It's a good one. Most people move on after about 6 months. Like they're right there, right early on. They're very available, helping, jumping into things. 3 months goes, life pushes you ahead. 6 months, and then you forget what was that date? What happened when? And the person or family going through something still are remembering that day quite clearly. So anything you do to remember, oh yeah, it was this many weeks, months, even years ago, then let me touch base with them. Let them know I'm thinking about them. Let me make myself available. That's a really good one. Any others that is helpful wisdom to pass on? Tell stories. Yeah, yeah. It's a big week in the counseling office. We're talking a lot about what's your plan for Christmas Eve. What do you do? How do you acknowledge that person? How do you do it subtly, directly? How do you not offend anybody? How do you do what you want to do? So um, it's a tough time of year. So be thinking about it. That's why I said write a note to someone that you remember went through something fierce anytime, any period of time, and check in with them. It will be very appreciated. So some final comments here, recognizing that why we're talking about grief and loss this week is because it has this very impactful muting effect on a person's passion for life, right? There's like an impact of where their energy is less. Their ability to look ahead as you can is much less. And when you're aware of that, you're able to close the gap. We mentioned reconciliation. It's like someone can't walk as fast as they used to. So you have to slow down a bit and go back and meet them. So it's a good thing to pay attention to because their outlook and energy and passion is less than what it was before. Second, recognizing that if someone's going through any sort of grief and loss, they're aware of how it shows up in their life. But one of the hard parts about this and why it's called relentless is they continually learn new ways that grief and loss affect them. So it's like you're already down and then someone comes around and kicks you. And it's hard to be able to keep getting back up through all those things because you're aware of, I know there's these symptoms coming this direction. It's like there's a sneak attack from behind or on the side in the blind spot. So it's recognizing and being vigilant against those things as much as possible in order to have that momentum each day. And then finally, just recognizing the power of being near encouraging people in proximity. Sometimes it's not even about talking to them, it's just being near them, both for the person hurting and the person who's trying to help. Proximity matters. Proximity to people who are hurting, being an encourager, being in the right places where it feels comfortable, where it feels like not demanding. And then finally, the idea of actions. The smallest acts of kindness go a really long way. The smallest acts of just sincerity or whatever else it might be. So a big week because it's a powerful intrusion on winter time throughout the many months of winter, but also on these holidays of why people end up not liking them even for a time is because they're continually impacted by the experience of grief or their own thoughts of loss and what isn't happening that they really wanted to. So a heavy week to talk about, but important to do so you are aware for yourself or for people you care about, because you can close those gaps. And so it won't feel as distant, it won't feel as difficult if you're paying attention to these things. So 2 weeks left. We'll still have class on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve up until the noon hour. We won't have an evening class those 2 days, but we still have 2 weeks left to continue to talk through surviving winter as we go forward. So nice to see everybody today, and we'll catch up on next Wednesday as well. Thanks.